major item. And just by way of comparison, at our last city council meeting, if memory serves, we had a specific item on an individual agenda of one of our departments that was $22.80. It offends me and really troubles me that what this says is now my due diligence as a city council member is every other week I've got to spend countless hours looking at a consent agenda that this one particular item number 7, I haven't done the counting, there's more than 1,000 individual items in here. And it seems to me that if I hadn't asked a bunch of pointed, repeated questions yesterday evening of one of the members of this city council, I would not have known that this item was on the consent agenda. And now it seems to me, if this kind of thing is occurring, it's now incumbent upon me as a member of the city council to have to comb through the 1,000 or more items on individual lines of the consent agenda just to make sure that somebody's not pulling a fast one and slipping something by us. If I hadn't asked those questions yesterday, this consent agenda would have been passed without discussion. And I would have found out later that I'm now roped into the problem of how did the city settle a major lawsuit that may or may not have had any merit whatsoever, that involves the wrongful termination of a former employee, that involves allegations of political retribution as the basis of that termination, how I as a city council member could have allowed that to slip by without discussion, without transparency, and it would have to be my own admission, not even knowing. And thankfully, because I'm an attorney and no other attorneys and no people who have access to the federal database, I found out that a case was settled without my ever having any notice whatsoever that the case was settled. This is totally unacceptable. This is reprehensible. And certainly for purposes of tonight, I support the motion to remove this item from the consent agenda, and I support the mayor's motion to authorize him to send a letter not only to the insurance company, but to everyone associated with the case, including the federal court, because I want to find out who authorized the settlement, with whose input, at what time, and on notice to whom. Because the answers to those questions are critical in determining what happened and at whose insistence.